Hi, welcome back to my channel, Made by BJax. Once again, you guys blew up my TikTok. This is the most views I've ever gotten, and this is the most views I think I'm ever going to get. I'm currently sitting at 28 million fucking views. First of all, I think that TikTok just blows me up whenever I travel. Me and my husband, we have this theory that while I'm traveling, like TikTok's trying to reach my demographic area, and I'm going from Arkansas to Ohio, and I have to go through Tennessee, Kentucky, and I think that's it. But I have to go so far to get to my family. Maybe it is. Maybe it is trying to reach a larger demographic because it doesn't know where the fuck I'm at. That might not be true. Who knows? But I'll take it. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm so excited to show you guys how to do this. I hope it's easy enough for you to follow. You guys wanted to see how I changed my colors without having any tails to weave in. That part's really easy to me, so I'm going to demonstrate that in this tutorial. There are a few advanced stitches in here. We have a majority of single crochet on the bra cups, but we also have our V stitches, our picot stitches, our double crochet and chain spaces. We have a moss stitch in here. We have chain shells. That's where you chain 5 and you skip 2 spaces and single crochet into the 3rd space, repeat. And that makes these little humps. And then we have, puff stitches for the screen right here. And then again with the V stitches. So I'm gonna walk through this for you guys. Stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe. That really helps me grow my channel and gets me one step further to making this my full-time job. I provide these tutorials for you guys for free, but eventually I do want to start monetizing here on YouTube, and so YouTube can pay me. You guys don't have to. YouTube can pay me. So like and subscribe, please. Here's a quick look at all the materials I used to make this project. As you can see, I have a ton of colors here as my options. I didn't even use all these colors, but I will put in the description below links for all these materials and colors. Luckily, this is all by the same brand, Lily Sugar and Cream. Also, this is optional, but you can use a fabric glue if you don't like the look of some of your ends peeking out in some places. You'll see what I'm talking about later in the tutorial, but this is not necessary. You don't have to have this. Next, you're going to want to choose your main color. It's the color that you start and end your bra cups with, and it wraps around the entire body. So you'll want to make sure that you have plenty of this color. I'm going to go with this yellow. To get started, grab your first color and create a slip knot. For this tutorial, I'm going to make a size small, therefore I'm going to chain 13. However, if you are looking to make a different size, then I have the recommended chain links posted here. After you've made your foundation chain, single crochet into the 2nd chain from the hook. Continue single crocheting into every chain space all the way down, but stop before you reach your last chain. Once you reach your last chain, you are going to leave 3 single crochet all into that same chain space. This is where we're going to begin using our stitch marker, so make sure you have that handy. So these are the 3 stitches that I just put into that chain space. We are going to put our stitch marker into the middle stitch of those 3. From here, continue single crocheting along the opposite side of your foundation chain, while also crocheting over that tail. Once you have finished, check and make sure that you have the same amount of stitches on both sides of your stitch marker. For this size small, I have 12 stitches on both sides. To begin our next row, chain 1, turn your work over, and insert a single crochet into the very first stitch. Continue single crocheting all along the side until you reach your stitch marker. Once you reach your stitch marker, go ahead and remove it and insert 3 single crochet all into that same space. You're going to repeat this process every time you encounter your stitch marker. Don't forget to replace it into the center stitch every time. Continue single crocheting all along the side, but stop before you reach your very last stitch. There, I will be showing you how to change your colors. Alright, go ahead and grab your new color and have it ready. So we're going to begin a single crochet here in this last stitch. You're going to pull your yarn up, but we're not going to finish it. You're going to take your yarn and lay it down and secure it with your thumb. Bring in your new color, leave about 1.5 inches for the tail, pinch it down, and finish that single crochet with your new color. Now, just like normal, chain 1 to start your next row and turn your work. Insert your hook into that very first stitch, and we're going to crochet over these tails. So as you can see, I'm pinching those down. I still haven't cut off my old color yet because I want to leave a few more single crochets first. So after I leave my first 3 single crochet, I tug on those tails a little bit to give it a little bit more tension, and then I cut off the old color and I cut it at the same length as the other tail. And from here I just continue single crocheting over those tails. You'll see how I just work this to make sure that they're tucked in there very neatly. I don't usually use fabric glue whenever I'm doing rows of single crochet, but I do like to use the fabric glue whenever I'm doing those more advanced stitches that often require me to skip spaces and those tails have nowhere to go because I'm not crocheting over them. But you'll see what I'm talking about whenever we get to that point. But go ahead and continue crocheting all along the side of this just like normal. We are going to stop before we reach the last stitch because we're going to change our color after this row. Alright, go ahead and grab your new color, and just like last time, we're going to insert our hook and do half of a single crochet stitch. So pull your yarn through, lay your yarn down, and give it a pinch. Bring in your new color, leave about 1.5 inches tail, pinch it down, and then finish that single crochet. Chain 1, turn your work, single crochet into the very first stitch while also crocheting over both of those tails. Leave about 2 more single crochet, and then tug on both of the tails real quick before you cut off your old color. Continue single crocheting all along the side, just like normal. We're actually going to do 2 rows of single crochet So I am crocheting all the way down into the last stitch because I'm going to do a second row in this same exact color. So just like normal, to start our next row, chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet into the very first stitch. And just like normal, continue single crocheting all along the side, but stop before you reach the very last stitch so that we can change our next color. Grab your next color, and this is going to be just like the previous color that we did. So go ahead and insert your hook and start your single crochet, but don't finish it. Lay down your color and pinch it. Bring in your new color, and we're going to leave about 1.5 inch tail. Hold it down with your thumb as well and finish that single crochet. Chain 1, turn your work over, single crochet into the very first stitch while also crocheting over both of those tails. Single crochet into the next few spaces before you tighten your tails and then cut off your old color. Continue single crocheting over those tails, and then all along the side we're going to do 2 rows of this color just like the last color that we did. Once again, I've crocheted all the way down into the last stitch. I'm chaining 1 and I'm crocheting into the very first stitch to start my next row. So just like the others, finish this row and stop before the very last stitch so that we can add our new color. Grab your new color, and you can use something that is small here because we're just going to use about 1 row for single crochet. So just like normal, insert your hook, pull your yarn through, don't finish that single crochet but lay your yarn down instead. Grab your new color, leave about 1.5 inch tail, finish that single crochet with your new color, chain 1, turn your work, single crochet into the first stitch and crochet over both of those tails as well. I think you guys get the memo now. Go ahead and finish the rest of this row with single crochet and stop before you reach the very last stitch. We're going to repeat the process again with another color. I'm going to use this bright lime green, and I'm going to just speed up the footage for this last row. This is going to be the last row of single crochet that I'm going to add before I add my detailed edging with the V-stitch and the picot stitch. So if you are looking to make a different size besides a small, then I have the recommended row counts posted here. Otherwise, if you are making a small, continue following along with me. Alright, we're about to begin working on our detailed edging, and I'm going to use this bright cyan color. I may also use this fabric glue for this stitch, however it is not necessary. Your stitches will still stay in place without it. So just like normal, we're going to go ahead and insert our hook and start a single crochet. We're going to lay our yarn down, grab our new color, leave an 1.5 inch long tail, and then finish that single crochet with the new color. Next, we're going to chain 4, turn your work over, and insert a double crochet into that very first stitch while also crocheting over those 2 tails. That creates our first V-stitch. Next, remove your hook. We're going to cut the old color off before we tug on the tails this time, so go ahead and give that a snip. I'm going to show you guys how I weave in the tails for this stitch because normally we need to skip 2 spaces before we leave our next V-stitch. So I insert my hook into the next single crochet space and just pull that yarn on through. Then I wrap it around, insert my hook into the next stitch after that, and again pull it on through. Now we're going to leave a V-stitch into that next single crochet. So I'm going to replace my hook, prepare for a double crochet. So we basically skip 2 spaces and V-stitch into the 3rd stitch after that. And I'm working over those tails this time. So a V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all into the same stitch. And there we have it. Remove your hook again if you have any excess tails left over, and do the same thing, weaving those tails in, wrapping it around, weaving it in, and crocheting over the excess yarn. So here is where you can start using your fabric glue. I just lay a little glob down right at the end where the end of the tails are going to lay down at. And those tails are going to stay really secure with this glue there. They're not gonna come fraying out or anything like that, especially if you like pinch it down and twist it up in there. It usually dries in like 4 hours, and it's okay if you get it on your skin or your hook. You might just have to wipe your hook off after you crochet into that space. But there you have it. If you don't have fabric glue, this still works out just fine. It just won't have such a clean appearance, but it'll still be secure. Continue your pattern though of leaving your V-stitches by skipping 2 spaces and double crochet, chain, double crochet into the 3rd space, and do that all the way along the side until you reach your stitch marker. I'm leaving my last V-stitch here on the side, and as you can see, I have 1 single crochet left. That's okay, I'm going to skip right over it and leave a V-stitch into my stitch marker space. So remove your stitch marker and immediately double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet all into the same middle stitch. Don't forget to replace your stitch marker into that chain space. To make my bra cup symmetrical, I'm going to skip the next single crochet and leave my V-stitch into the single crochet after that. After that, I'm going to continue my regular pattern of skipping 2 spaces and leaving a V-stitch on the 3rd space all the way down the side until I reach the end. Alright, I am leaving my very last V-stitch here on the very last stitch of the row. Yours should also line up perfectly if you made it symmetrical, like the first side. And here's what your work should be looking like at this point. She's looking pretty cute. We just have one more row left to go, and that's with the picot stitch and the strap included. So you'll want to go back to your main color. Mine was yellow. Go ahead and cut your yarn here. We don't need it anymore. We're doing this process a little different because we just ended on a V-stitch. Grab your new color, and just like before, we're gonna hold about 1.5 inches on the side, and we're gonna chain 1, single crochet into that very first stitch, which was the last double crochet from the previous row. Your yarn may look a little loose right here, but it's okay, we can tighten it later. Single crochet into that chain space while also crocheting over the tails. Then single crochet on top of the next double crochet space. So we just left 3 single crochet. Now we're going to leave a picot stitch. So chain 3, we're going to insert our hook into these front 2 loops. Pull your yarn through, and then slip stitch back through. Single crochet into the next stitch. Single crochet into the next chain space. And then again into the next stitch. Again with the picot, chain 3, pull your yarn through, slip stitch, single crochet into the next 3 spaces. On the third single crochet, leave a picot. You're gonna repeat this pattern all the way down until you reach your stitch marker. You can still tighten your tails at this point. You can also trim them if they need to be trimmed. I just finished my last picot stitch, and I have to make 1 more single crochet before I reach my stitch marker. Here's what your work should be looking like at this point. We are almost finished with our first bra cup. All we have to do now is make this strap before we do the opposite side. So go ahead and remove your stitch marker. Leave a single crochet into that chain space. And from here, we are going to chain 81. After you have chained 81, begin slip stitching into the second chain from the hook and continue slip stitching all the way down your chain until you reach your bra cup again. After you have slip stitched all the way down your chain, leave 1 more single crochet into that last chain space where you left off at. Next, single crochet into the next space, and then again into the space after that, and then we will leave our picot. From here, repeat your pattern of single crocheting 3 times, and on the 3rd stitch, leave a picot.